Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we feature the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm talking to Martin Lee from Northumberland in the United Kingdom, who has written a book, a children's book called Lambley, The Last Lamb. Martin, welcome.
Thank you very much, Matt. Hi.
So, a kid's book called Lambley and the Last Lamb. I mean, one would assume you're a children's worker in the community somewhere, but I know that's not the case. So, professionally, what is it you do?
My day job, I'm a doctor, I'm a rheumatologist. So yes, I've got lots of little bits on the side as well, and one of them is writing children's books.
Ah, very good. What inspired you to write? I mean, is it your kids? What was it that inspired you to start writing?
Yeah, I think how it initially came about was, I mean, my daughter now all is 9, but when she was a couple of years old, she loves being read to, she loves reading herself, and she loves being read to, and I read to her every night. I still do, and my son as well. Um, and I guess I was reading some stories to her, children's books. Some of them were excellent, but some of them not so much. And I thought, well, actually, I could perhaps do better than this. And it's one of these things you sort of just lying in bed at night, falling asleep, and suddenly you wake up with an idea in your head, and you think, oh, I should put that on paper. And it just went from there, really.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And this first idea, this Lamley, I mean, who inspired that? This is the lead character, of course, the lamb.
Yes.
Who inspired? Where did Lamley come from? Is it something running around the local field, or what's the origins?
Well, we live in Northumberland. We live in Tynemouth, and we spend quite a lot of time on the Northumberland coastline because it's beautiful. I mean, if you know the Northumberland coastline, you know how beautiful it is. And we drive through a lot of the villages. There's lots of lambs in the fields, and I think that's probably where it came from. I don't think the name came first. I think I just had an idea of a children's story set on a farm in Northumberland, and then I started to think about the lambs. And then I think initially it was the name was different, and then I came across a tiny little village, a hamlet actually in Northumberland called Lambley, and it fitted with the story as well. And then it just came about. Well, actually, we've got some lovely villages where we live, some beautiful little places, and then the names of the characters all came from these names of villages near where we live. So yeah, that's where it came from.
Yeah. So all the characters, all the animals in the book are all named after local villages. That's
Yes.
really
Yeah.
rather nice.
So I mean, the farm's Collingwood Farm, and Collingwood's a very famous name in the northeast. Anyone who lives in the area will know all about Lord Collingwood. So the farm's called Collingwood Farm. The main character in the first bit's Lammy, the last lamb, and the farmer on the farm's called Dunstan, which is another village close to where we live. And he's clearly named all his animals. So you've got Lamley the lamb, you've got Creswell the cow, you've got Amble the pig, you've got Embleton the cat, who's actually the main character in the second book I've written. You've got Craster the pig. There's a whole host of animals who've been named after local villages and places.
Oh, really beautiful. So this book's going to mean a lot in your community.
I hope so. I mean, it is. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I've been into a few local bookshops already, and they're very keen to stock it when it arrives. And there's clearly is a northeast connection. I mean, it's for anyone. Anyone can read it, but obviously, if you're from the area, you'll recognise the names, and there's a northeast connection there.
Yeah, yeah. So, come on, without giving the entire story away, what happens to Lamley?
Okay, well, so Lamley's he's a lazy lamb. He's in his field enjoying the spring. The first book set in the spring, and he's just chatting to his mum, and then he falls asleep in the grass. And when he wakes up, he hears the dance of the farmer saying he's the last. It's the last of them. So he thinks he's the last lamb, and he looks around. His mum's gone. All his brothers and sisters are gone, and he's a bit lost, really. So he then decides to go and speak to some of the animals on the farm who are friends of his, and ask for help to try and find out what's happened. So I think first he goes to see Creswell the cow, and then he goes to Amble the pig, and then Old Hartley the workhorse. And they talk to him, and he asks them lots of questions, and he tries to find out what's happening, why he's the last lamb, or is he actually the lost lamb? And they try and help him find his mum on the farm.
Oh, amazing. Fantastic. And so I mean, you've written this book because you want to entertain kids, because you want to educate kids. I mean, What's the deep motivation for you, Martin?
I think the first one really, I want the children to enjoy listening to the stories. I've taken it into a number of schools, and I love reading to children. I love reading to my children, but class children as well. And the children have really enjoyed it. When I did when I did the reading, we didn't have all the illustrations finished. So the illustrations will play a big part of it because I think it's been beautifully illustrated. So I think when it's finally published and the illustrations are there, then I'll be able to go into the schools with the illustrations, show them the illustrations, and I hope just they really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of wordplay in it. I think that some of the older children and adults will enjoy too, because when you're reading a child a story, it's nice to enjoy it yourself as well. And I think some of the wordplay in the books that I've written will really be good for adults as well. They'll enjoy it. So I hope really it's focused on children, but I think anyone who reads it, I hope they'll all enjoy it really.
Yeah, yeah, amazing, really good. Now you've written this book, but is writing something you find easy, or did you face some obstacles along the way?
Um, I know. I guess find it fairly easy. I mean, I do a lot of medical writing. I have done a lot of medical writing, a lot of scientific literature. So I've written a lot of medical sort of journals and manuscripts. It's very different to that. Um, I've not written any storybooks before, but I don't particularly find it difficult. I think it's one of those things that if you give things time, the stories come to me. As I say, usually 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they wake me up and I have to write something down. Um, so it's not one of those things that I've actually had to sit down and concentrate on thinking of a story. I think I would struggle really to do that. It's one of those things that the ideas pop up into your head, and then it's
Yeah,
just a case of getting down on paper. And actually, once the ideas are there, I actually find it quite easy to do. And actually, I mean, just this week I was on a plane and I had an idea for the third. Well, I had a bit of an idea for the third book in the series already, um, and the idea sort of clarified in my head. And so it was a fairly long plane journey, so I sat and just wrote it on the plane. And it was I think about a 6-hour plane journey, but I sort of just sat and wrote it on the plane. So it's a case of just writing down ideas as they come, and then obviously then there's the proofreading and tidying it up and making
yeah.
sure you haven't got any spelling errors and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I've had the privilege of reading this third manuscript, and it is, yeah, beautifully written and profoundly meaningful. But let's
Thank
leave
you.
book number three, because book number two is going to be also published in the next 6 months. So
Yes.
just a little insight into the sequel to Lambley, The Last Lamb.
Yeah, so this in the first book, Lambley at the start, one of his friends is Embleton the cat, and I know Embleton very well. I do a lot of kayaking. I have done a lot of kayaking, and actually kayaked around the UK back in 2012 for charity. And I remember the first time I went to Embleton was I kayaked into Embleton, and it's a lovely little village. One of my friends actually got married there, and one of Lambley's friends in the first book is called Embleton the cat, and it's based on a rescue cat that we had. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. But yeah, it's based on the rescue cat that they have, and he's featured in the first book. But I thought there's a lot more to the character than that. And anyone who knows cats knows they're extremely curious and inquisitive. And certainly our two cats, Harry, who Embleton's based on, and also Bilbo, our other cat, are very, very inquisitive. So it's called Embleton, the curious cat, and it's about what he gets up to on the farm. I mean, he thinks he's part of he works on the farm. He thinks he's sort of a human working on the farm, and so he gets involved in the day-to-day activities, helping to milk the cow, Cresswell the cow, looking for eggs from Hagston the hen, and helping out Dunstan and Dunstan's wife Blythe on the farm. So it's about his adventures. So yeah, that one's been written and in the process of being illustrated now.
Yeah, really exciting. Amazing. Well, Martin, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you and to hear about Lamley and the follow-on, the sequels to this first book of yours. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you all for listening to the Publish You podcast featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Martin, then please do drop us a note. Our website is www.publishu.com, and drop us a note there to find out more. And if you've enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.